Barcodes. Have you ever wondered about barcodes? Are this these things that you just see on products in a supermarket? Do you know what the numbers mean at the bottom? Do you know what all those lines mean on the barcode? Have you ever thought about it? Keep watching my video. I would explain to you what we see with a barcode, what the computer sees, how the computer processes barcodes, where they're used and why they are so useful. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the link underneath for the free activity. Well, firstly, you may want to think about barcode readers, okay, rather than just thinking about barcodes. So, look at the images here. You can see that there's various types of barcode readers, but yet they all do the same thing. They use red lasers to read barcodes, and you would have seen them in various shops and supermarkets and so on. So, they're known as not just a barcode reader, but also known as a POS scanner. So POS stands for point of sale. Okay, so they're also known as a point of sale scanner. So when you go to checkout to pay for your item, that is the point of the sale. The sale is more than likely going to happen. So it's an input device. Now the reason why it is an input device is because you are taking information from the barcode and you're putting it into the computer. Okay, so remember our input devices and output devices. Okay, so a barcode reader is an input device. So how does it work? Well, we are going to go into some detail about this in the video, but this is how it works. So the reader directs the laser beam across to measure the amount of light emitted. So if there's lots of light or if there's no light. So that's all it does. It's that simple. That's why they work so quickly. It's a very simple technology, yet a very clever one. So once the light is emitted, then it's converted into electrical signals, and this data is decoded simply by the computer. But let's go into some more detail now about barcodes. So what is a barcode? Now the reason why I've chosen this one is because, well, years ago when I was a student, I worked in a supermarket, and one thing that didn't scan every single year was the Cadbury's cream egg. Okay, it never ever scanned. It could never pick up the light from the barcodes, probably because it was a tinfoil wrapper and maybe there was far too much light and creases and so on. But I always remember having to tap in a number, which was 50201600. Okay, but you know what? I never ever thought, what does that number mean? Where does that come from? How does that work? I never thought of that. I just got the cream eggs through, typed in the number. Every time I saw a cream egg, just simply typed in the number. So now it's all a barcode is. It's just simply a row of thick and thin vertical bars. Usually there are 14 numbers, but obviously this can vary. And as you can see on our Cadbury's cream egg here, there's not 14 numbers. Okay, so you've got thin bars, thick bars, and so on, black and white. That's simple. Now, one of these bars will either reflect lots of light on the laser or very little when it's red. Now, which one do you think, have a think about it, would reflect a lot of light? Now, obviously it's going to be the white bars. So these are bars, they're not just a background, okay, these are actually bars. So these will reflect absolutely no light, and these will reflect, these white ones will reflect obviously quite a lot. So, where are barcodes used? Well, they're used everywhere. They're on every product, okay? So, but let's think about more the industries, I suppose. Libraries use them. They're used on the membership cards, they're used on the books, they're used everywhere. Okay, supermarkets. And even products. So for example, each product, like if you're trying to keep an eye on your nutrition, there are actually apps that you can get where you can scan the product and you can keep an eye on how much fat you've taken in, how many calories, how much sugar. Okay, so they can even be used now for a personal use. Here I thought this was quite funny. Okay, barcodes have become somewhat an interesting modern art form. So here's a building in Russia that's actually made the building look like a huge barcode. Basically, they're used all over the world. They're used everywhere. So what information do we get from a barcode? Okay, so the barcode will identify the product, the size of the product and the weight of the product, okay, where the product has come from, because that's how things are tracked, and who manufactured the product. Now, what it doesn't contain is the price information, because that will vary. Okay, so one supermarket may sell something cheaper than the other supermarket. So the price the product is sold at is usually down to the individual shop itself. So now, where the product has come from, I don't know if you ever knew about the horse meat scandal that took place in the UK. So the reason why they could actually find out the source of where this horse meat that ended up in our food came from was because they actually detected and looked back at the barcodes and see exactly which manufacturer it came from. So that's something you can look up if you wish. So, how is a barcode read? Okay, what do you see? So what I see here, okay, is something completely different to what you see. So you're probably thinking, well, Miss Prices, all I can see is some thick black bars that will emit no light whatsoever and some thick white bars that will emit light. Okay, right, well, I'm going to break this down for you. So this is really simple. This first set of numbers, these are the codes of the manufacturer of the product. Okay, so this is the manufacturer's unique individual code. This one is the code of the individual product itself, its unique identifier. So that now leaves two numbers. Okay, so you can see there's a 7 there to the left and a 6 to the right. So this is the product type code. Okay, so what type of product it is. In retail, they're usually, there are lots of codes, but usually 0, 1, 6, 7 or 8. Okay, so what type of product it is. Is it meat? Is it a weighed item? Okay, is it a pharmaceutical item? What is it? So this is the check digit calculation, and we'll obviously go into more detail on this later. So now 2 is the items that are sold by weight. Okay, 3 are pharmaceuticals, and 4 and 5 are simply coupons. Okay, so is all they are just simply coupons such as loyalty cards or coupons that you can probably get out of a magazine. So let's break this down even further now. Okay, so this is what we see. But what does our computer see? Well, the computer sees a lot more than you do. Okay, so now you're going to think about how long it takes to scan a product in a shop. And then the information I'm going to give you is literally broken down by the computer in a matter of a second or less. So barcodes are split into left and right columns, and right here are the guards. Okay, so these here are just simply the guards that split our barcode into the left column and to the right column. Then this is basically how the barcode is broken up into columns. So as you can see here, the barcode is broken up into several different columns. So when I said to you earlier, oh look, there's a column there and there's a column there. Okay, well, yeah, we saw one column there, but right here in this white section you can see there's 3 columns. Okay, so the computer will see 3 columns when you think you're seeing just one big thick column. Okay, now as you know, the computer cannot see the alphabet or read the alphabet or read numbers and so on and so on. The computer just sees a bunch of 1s and 0s. So if it admits no light, it's number 1. If it admits lots of light, it's 0. And as you can see, all along here will simply just be 1, 0, 0. So you can see that one will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and so on. Means nothing to us, but means a whole lot to the computer. Now, here the columns will emit no light, as we said. So there would be zeros, and the columns that, they will be ones, and then the ones that admit lots of light will register as 0. Now, how is the check digit calculated? So we now know this is the type of product that it is, okay? We now know this is the manufacturer code, and we now know that this is the individual product code, but we haven't looked into this one, have we? Okay, now you're going to be able to do this yourself afterwards, okay, because this is quite simple. So what happens is each of these numbers are given a position, okay? So you can see there's 11 numbers, okay? Then what the computer does is it multiplies each of these positions by 3 and adds them on. So as you can see here, 3 times 7, okay, because 7 is number 1, add number 5, you probably think, why number 5, okay? Well, what the computer does first of all is that it gets all the numbers in the odd positions, okay, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11, adds all those together, then it adds the numbers that are in the even positions, okay? So that will multiply by 4. So what it will do after that is it will get the next multiple value, okay? So what's the next multiple value of 10? It will be 100, okay? So it rounds the answer up to the nearest multiple of 10. Sorry, I'll move this down a bit so you can actually see it. There we go. And so that will go up to 100. Then is all it simply does is it will subtract the answer. So 100 subtract 94 will leave 6, and that's how we get our check digits. So what happens once all this information goes into the computer? Okay, well, this is what happens. Is the barcode number for each product obviously is going to be unique, and we'll have a unique set of calculations, obviously. So that will serve as the primary key on our database. So the product's barcode number is unique, as we said. So what it's going to do is it's going to look up the item and it's going to match the item. Okay, then the details that will be needed are output on the checkout POS system. So you know when you go to the checkout and they scan your item, and that item is scanned in like less than a second, and then the output appears on the screen of the checkout. So then what will happen is a validation process is going to happen. So the number of stock will be reduced. So as you can see here, they have 70 avocados, but Mrs. Higgins has gone to the checkout and she's bought 4 avocados. So what happens is this number is going to be reduced. So this number will then become 66. So then what happens if people keep buying stuff and it's running out? Okay, so the validation process will take place for reorder. So as you can see here, there's a reorder point. So when the avocados go down to 29, then the computer says, okay, you've got to reorder those. We're running out. Okay, because everybody is loving avocado on toast at the moment. We can't run out of avocados. So the stock will arrive and the database will once again be updated. So the stock's arrived the next day. We've got 100 avocados. Okay, so what's going to happen is the available amount of avocados will appear here. So we now have 100. So yesterday there were less than 29. Okay, so they reordered them. And then at some point during the day there was only 2 left. Now they've got 102 avocados. So barcodes do serve many advantages. Okay, and it's not just advantages to the customer, but there's also advantages in stock management. So they work both ways, because in retail stock management is important, but then the customer's also important. So what's happened? So it's easier and faster to update the prices. You haven't got to type in everything individually. You just scan a barcode and it does it all for you. The information on sales trends can be followed very quickly. So rather than, relying on someone to keep an eye on something or go around the supermarket and check and so on, well, a barcode can tell you, because where it's all in the computer and all the numbers are already there in the computer, well, then the graphs can be made. There's no need to price every single item. See, before the days of computers, every single item in the shop had a price on it. Okay, so someone went round with tickets and they put the prices and everything, because otherwise when it gets to the checkout, the person at checkout won't know how much it is. Now, all they've got to do is put a label in front of every item and say what the price is. And because of this, as you could see in our example earlier, the stock can be controlled automatically. And then the customer buying habits can be tracked. So this also happens on loyalty cards. Now, as a result, for the customer, there are faster moving checkout queues. Some may argue not. So for example, there's lots of checkouts, the queues move quicker because rather than looking at an item and trying to find the price and typing it in, you're just simply going beep, beep and moving them along. And then as a result of barcodes as well, we now have self-service checkouts where you can scan your own shopping and pack your own bags, and there's no need for members of staff there. So, and that can cause maybe some disadvantages or maybe some advantages. Now, there's less chance of human error. Okay, so humans can't type in the wrong numbers, they can't get the prices wrong because it's all in the barcodes. You now get an itemised bill. Before the days of barcodes, your supermarket receipt may just simply say a product code and a price. And obviously as a customer, you couldn't identify that. But if you needed to take something back to the shop or make a complaint, then that receipt will mean something obviously to the people in the shop. So savings are calculated for the customers, so now we can add, like for example, I've seen this plenty of times, we can add this something more to the bill. Like today, you made a saving of £5.80. Or other supermarkets I've been into, your shopping was £1.26 cheaper than our rival supermarket. So tracking of sell by dates can be done quickly as well. Okay, so when a product is actually scanned, you can have the extra information of the sell by dates, and they can say you've got so many items on the shelf that are going out of date soon.